Welcome to this new episode of The Disabled Life. The purpose of this podcast is to tell people how I live my life. The name I'm using on the podcast now is The Disabled Guy, because I felt that you needed to hear something as opposed to just my voice there. I'm a disabled male living in Florida with cerebral palsy. I'm here to tell you how I live my life and some of the volunteer work that I do and how I managed to do it with cerebral palsy. Without further ado, let's go into the episode. Well, this one's been a long time in coming. I am sorry. I've been sick, and then I had to learn some new software, some new editing software. I'm now using Audacity. But what I'm here to say today is thank you for my 1,000 episode, for my 1,000 listen or download. I did not think I was ever going to get to that point, but thank you. Because without you, we wouldn't be here. I would not be here. I never thought I'd get there. So, I appreciate you a lot for the things that you've done for me. And you listeners have helped me find my voice and have helped me find my voice. I had never thought that I would be doing public speaking, but here I am now, doing this type of speaking. Now, let me tell you a little bit more about me. I'm a disabled male with cerebral palsy. I spent a lot of time during COVID bored. So I decided, okay, it's time to do a podcast. Because I found a passion for it. I honestly did find a passion. So, let me talk to you about something that I feel really strongly about. Okay. When I was a kid in the 80s and some in the early 70s, let me put a pause on this. My family and I went to Costa Rica for many vacations. I'm going to talk to you today about the contrast on how things have changed ever since the tourism board and tourism industry in Costa Rica happened for the disabled community. When I first went there, people in the disabled community were looked at like weirdos. One kid, I remember, I was in a wheelchair and with my cousin. We were going around. We went out. One kid asked me, "Oh, what are those hoses?" What he saw was braces from my hips to my ankles or lower, because I wore them on the outside. Most people would wear them on the inside, but I thought, and it was more comfortable to wear them on the outside. So I would do that. So he asked me what that was, what those hoses were. Oh well, I answered his question. The second time, a couple of days later, I see him again. He asked me again. He made fun of me. So I answered him the second time. The third time is when he made some fun. And I said, okay, I'm done with this guy, with this kid. I realized that he was asking these questions to make fun. And I said, So I basically yelled at him in English, because I felt that he was wrong. So now, that was that time. Now to the future. Now I went there, and now there's mandatory elevators at stores. Maybe one, but at least it's better. We have wheelchair accessible rooms, showers, etc., and all those things, including 911 centers for the tourists. But what I say is, the taxis have lifts now, and some of them are required to have them because we need them. As members of the disabled community, we have every right to go wherever we don't want to go. So I asked my mom when we started to go. She did not remember when we started to go, but that's okay, because I, as a disabled person, enjoyed the vacations. Even though the houses were hard to be in, I feel, as a disabled person, that we should stay in hotels. But we did not do that. My mom wanted to stay with family, and I honestly understand why. I think that we did what we had to do. I went at one point with my dad to Costa Rica to visit my grandmother. I got the opportunity to stay for a night in a disabled room in a hotel. I found that was very, very easy. Even though I can't travel by myself completely, but it makes life easier. I wish we would have stayed in hotels, but that's okay. We did not do that. I feel that those things are experiences. I feel that I taught my cousins what it was to be disabled, even because I know that they did never had anybody but me to teach them that. I used to go to stores and I used to go to stores in the past, places, and people would look at me like I'm an alien because they never saw a wheelchair. So, but now that the disabled people are going out more often, they are out in the community. They work. A lot of them work for the government. Some of them sell lottery. Another good thing that happened is they began a 911 system, and they also instituted a type of Americans with Disabilities Act. I don't know what they call it in Costa Rica. And they instituted handicap parking, etc. So, I am very happy that tourism happened. Tourism has made Costa Rica better. Not only for the disabled community, but anybody around. I'll give you an example of something that is very, very interesting. They used to make pizza with homemade cheese. I said, no, I don't like this because it was tasted terrible, because the cheese was just some cheese that was not good. But when the tourists came in, they decided that they needed mozzarella and that the pizza tasted normal. A lot of the restaurants are now accessible to the disabled. Some places are still not. Let me tell you a story on something that happened to me. Going to those places, you still have to think out of the box a little bit. What I mean by that is this: that I went to an outdoor mall with my grandmother, my father, and my uncles. My mom wasn't there. We weren't. She didn't travel with us that day. So we went to this mall, and the one elevator for public was broken. So, but I kept seeing rolling clothing racks being brought up. I said, how are they doing this? Because the elevator is broken. But before I finished that part of the story, they told us that the elevator may be not fixed for 4 hours. I'm like, am I going to get stuck here? I'm thinking, I'm not going to be stuck here. But I don't want to be stuck. My grandmother couldn't be stuck because she needed to get her medicine, her daily medicine. I was like, oh no. So I asked an employee. I think it was a janitor. I said to him, "Excuse me, sir. Do you have a service elevator?" He said, "Yes, but you're not supposed to go." "Yes, but the public is not supposed to go on it." I said, "Yes, I understand, sir. But I'm stuck. We are stuck." So I explained to him why we were stuck and why we needed to get down and home. So he was nice enough to help us and get down and let us ride in the elevator with him because we could not ride it by ourselves for insurance purposes. Let me tell you another bit of a story of when I went there. The last time I went there with my dad. Okay, I use because I'm in a wheelchair and I don't walk well. I walk with a walker, but the walker doesn't fit in the airplane. So the way I get on an airplane is I get in something called an aisle chair. For those of you that don't know what an aisle chair is, it's basically a hand truck with a seat and seat belts. They put you in this chair. I transfer into this chair, and then I get taken to the seat. I get out of the aisle chair in this airplane, and then they leave. I'm like, oh God. So we were trying to get off. So we get to Costa Rica, and we were trying to get off. The person that was the wheelchair attendant that was supposed to come help us get me off the plane was not showing up. So the crew, the pilots and flight attendants were being held up by these people. I'm like, this is terrible. So I asked the guy, I think it was a flight attendant. I don't know if it was I asked him, do you have an aisle chair? Because some countries don't have this. So the airplane brought one in there, somehow in a closet, I think it was. So they got it out, and they got me off the plane. This flight was what they call a turn. What that means is, a turn is when they go to a place. It doesn't have to be a country. They go to a place, drop the passengers off, and load up another set of passengers and turn right back around the same day. That's called a turn. The reason they do that turn is so that they don't stay there. They just come back home the same day. So the flight attendant said to me that they were supposed to be back by 4 p.m. Eastern time. I don't know if it was daylight savings time or what time it was, but they needed to be back home by 4. So I was like, okay. So they got me off the plane. But the funny part was that the attendant that was supposed to get me off the plane was just going through security, and they said, "Oh, we don't need you anymore. It's done." I don't know. Maybe it's because they're not used to it, or what the issue is that takes so long. Another crazy thing that happened to me on an airplane. Some people can't. I am able to transfer myself in and out of seats because I can stand. So, getting off a plane, coming from Maryland back home, Mom and I were traveling back home. So, this woman comes with an aisle chair, and she stands there. And I'm like, she's not asking questions, she's not doing anything. So I finally ask her, "Ma'am, why are you standing here? What's going on?" She says, "Oh, I need somebody to help me transfer you into the aisle chair." I said, "No, I can do myself." I told her, open the arm so that I can transfer in. And I got myself into the aisle chair, and she was able to get me off the plane. But here comes a funny story. All of a sudden, they bring us our bag. They tell us that they checked our bag. Because they didn't know why our bag was the last bag. So they thought that that bag was suspect. I understand why. We had no reason to be suspect, but they didn't know that. So they told us that they checked our bag. I said no. We said no problem. We as law-abiding citizens don't have a problem with them checking our bag because why worry about it? You have nothing wrong. So the reason I'm telling you these stories is so that you understand the things we go through during flights. It's not a bad thing, but we go through inconveniences sometimes. And that is something that I, as a disabled person, wish we didn't go through. It takes longer for us to get on and off planes. Before I finish this episode, I'm going to tell another story. I was getting on a plane one day, and all of a sudden this woman, this helper, I don't know what they call them, was running to get me onto the plane. And I said stop, because I need an aisle chair. She didn't know to bring one. She just did, so I had to stop her. If that wouldn't have been, I don't know what would have happened. They would have had to bring one and delay everything. From what I've seen now in YouTube videos, it works a little better, because what happens is I've seen them right where the gateway is. That's for the threshold from the bridge where you walk to the plane. That's where they have the aisle chairs now. That's much better. I agree with that better, because at that point they can move, they can do things. They can easily, nobody has to bring them. They're already there. But I'm going to tell you these experiences because these experiences are something important to me, and they're part of my life. They're part of how I live, and they're part of travel. And that's something that I think you guys would be interested in. At that point, thank you for listening, and once again, thank you for 1,000 listens to my podcast. I never thought I'd be in that position. Well, with that, thank you for listening, and I'll be back soon.